Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones dials it up. Swing pass. Open. Bobble. Touchdown. Wandale Robinson. Second down and 7. Fake it. On the boot. Jones throws. Touchdown! Bellinger! Scoops it back up. Jackson throws. Intercepted! Giants have it with Julian Love. Love weaving through. Great up defense here on 1st and goal. Handoff. Up top. Touchdown! Saquon Barkley. Airborne for the score.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drawing About the G-Men. Giants Football Podcast. I'm Big Jace, joined by Joe Guire, King Zane, Sean Scanlon. 5-1. Giants did it. I mean, big takeaway you saw there at the end by Julian Love to set up the Saquon Barkley touchdown. Kayvon Thibodeau, the rookie, finally gets his first sack of the season. Everything's rolling right. Joe, how do you feel about the Giants going? I mean, they're finally getting respect. That you talked about it last week. That they're finally moving up those power rankings.
ESPN's so dumb. And it's funny the way that worked out, and it was literally as simple as Green Bay losing and the Giants beating the Ravens, and there was no other place to put the Giants but 5. And admit at least a week late that you guys don't know what you're talking about at ESPN. These national announcers, and it's the same thing with baseball. It's so idiotic. It's like they don't know what they're talking about. I think it's time for everybody who watches football collectively as a group to take your head out of your ass. Because just because the team was good last year and it didn't fix its offensive line and it didn't do anything about its running back depth, you know what? That team's not good this year. Okay, that's about half the league. That's like 3-3 right now. So the teams that are winning NFL games, for anybody who has tried to chalk it like the Giants are lucky, you're a moron. Do you watch football? Nobody wins by luck in the NFL. And I've also heard some of these analysts, I haven't seen any development in Daniel Jones. Then you don't understand football at all. Plain and simple. It is like stunning to hear how stupid people are. The Jets are a much better football team. Their defense is really good. The Giants' defense is much improved over last year. And you know what? Everybody wants to chalk this up like as if Brian Dable's the second coming of John Wooden or something. Tap the brakes. He's a good coach. They're well-disciplined. They play hard for him. But this team has gotten a little bit better, and they've grown to the point where they're 5-1, and everybody deal with it or suck it.
I love that. Everybody deal with it or suck
Sorry.
it. Yeah. It was great seeing Wayndale Robinson. We saw the touchdown there. I know a lot of critics were like, "This guy's just another Kadarius Toney," but this guy's a Kadarius Toney getting out on the field. Zay, where's your head at? I know they're doing better than the Jets, and I wish you, for your sake, maybe I wish the Jets were doing better, but
whatever. Anyway, you're not part of this Giants bandwagon. You already jumped off the ship week 1. So
I didn't jump off the ship today.
I'm
being critical of Daniel Jones this year. I'm not letting him by. I'm not gonna throw him these excuses. I've said that. He's looked great.
Zay,
Two
for
great touchdowns.
3 years, this guy sounded like the biggest homer on the planet. The guy's
I
finally
know.
good, and he's like, "Well, I'm putting my foot down now." Good timing, Jace.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree with Joe, though. For the most part, everything Joe said is accurate. A lot of people need to start waking up. The Jets and Giants aren't getting lucky. They're actually a good team. They have players. For a while, these teams have been building. They have been grabbing pieces through the draft, and it looks like they finally have someone who actually knows how to make these pieces work. I think for a long time, it wasn't that the Giants were drafting terrible. It was that the people in charge of these draft picks weren't developing them properly and putting them in positions to succeed the same way Brian Dable has been doing and Mark Wheatendale has been doing on defense. These are the same guys. Nothing has really changed. They didn't bring in, a vet that's changed anything really. The Giants have really just rolled with what Gettleman left them, and they have made it work because they actually have some brains at the wheels now. And you have to start taking into consideration that the Giants for the last few drafts have been drafting pieces for a rebuild. I'm assuming that the rebuild could possibly be over. I hate to say it might be over.
Well, 5-1.
One of the ESPN, I don't remember which moron said this, said the Giants' biggest acquisition this offseason was Wink Martindale because he's a third-string quarterback coming up. Like, what? Again, Wink's great, but these guys are performing, and he's putting guys who shouldn't be in the position they're in the position they're in, and they're all coming through.
Again,
it's the players, though, Zay. It's the guys on the roster, right?
They were very capable guys. You see guys like Julian Love for the last few years. He never looked really comfortable under the last few coaches. He finally looks comfortable. He's out there making plays, gets our first interception of the year. You know how big I've been on Julian Love all year and how I said he was going to be one of the leaders in the secondary. He's been a captain on the team, and he's proven it. Again, just pieces everywhere. Leonard Williams stepping up. Dexter Lawrence, a first-round draft pick from a few years ago. He's playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level. These are things that you are starting to expect. Xavier McKinney, another pick that we probably shouldn't have got as early as we did and as late as we did in the second round. He probably should have went in the first round. But these guys are turning out to be who we thought they were. And that's the good thing. We're learning that the NFL, you're not always going to get players to come out of college and turn it around and win the Super Bowl. That isn't always going to happen. Your Pat Mahomes, your Joe Burrows, those are once-in-a-lifetime stories. Sometimes you actually have to take players, build a team, get a coach, develop these players, and actually turn them into something. You just can't always assume that, hey, I'm going to take this quarterback, and in 2 years, either he has it or he doesn't. We're finally starting to see Daniel Jones become a better quarterback. He's making better decisions every week. He puts this team in positions to win. Everyone keeps talking about, it's the defense, it's the defense. Daniel Jones is leading drives down the field, sometimes without Saquon Barkley on the field because of his shoulder, and they score. How long has it been since we talked about the Giants driving down the field and scoring? Obviously, we always talk about them, 3 and outs. They're never on schedule. Everything is always looking crazy. And Daniel Jones is putting together 19, 18-play drives and scoring at the end of the game. He has 3 comeback wins now. That is improvement. So I agree with Joe. I don't know what these idiots at ESPN are saying and they don't see development or this is luck. No, this is a team that is finally starting to turn the corner. You've been gathering pieces for years, and it's finally starting to turn the corner with the right person in charge. That's what I see.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, a game coming off a game like this to praise Wink Martindale, I don't know. I mean, Kenyon Drake was gashing the Giants left and right. Like there were holes. So I mean, to have it is ridiculous. It being on him. Steve Risser from Sports Talk with R&J. Make sure you check that out every Wednesday at 1. Lawrence and McKinney have been outstanding this year. Yeah, McKinney now. I think this shows a little bit about the Joe Judge because McKinney holds the record for the longest active, most snaps, defensive snaps played right now. And I mean, he was injured at the beginning of his career. So, I mean, it shows how long when Joe Judge, how much the defense was out there, I guess. But, and Dexter Lawrence, obviously, big, also had a big sack last week as well. Sean, I mean, what to you is the biggest standout? What's the biggest difference? I mean, we're talking about Daniel Jones. We talk about ESPN likes talking about Wink Martindale. To you, what is that one big difference from the Giants last year to this year and competing at 5-1?
I know it's been harped on a lot, but I do think it is just this coaching staff and the development that they've brought in, because if you look at the roster over the past couple of years, it's basically the same roster. They've brought in a couple of different pieces. Obviously, Kayvon Thibodeau, Wan'Dale Robinson, Evan Neal being some of the big draft picks. But in terms of free agency, they haven't really brought in too many different people. So, I mean, if you look back at Dave Gettleman's draft, it's not that he was just drafting the wrong prospects. There's a couple guys that have talent who have been in the roster for the past couple of years who haven't really shown out until this year. As they mentioned, Julian Love and then Dexter Lawrence too, both kind of having breakout years. So I think it is the development of this team and the roster they have constructed. And also I think it's just they know how to utilize these players to their strengths. And obviously we've seen that with Daniel Jones. Obviously, I think ESPN doesn't give him a lot of respect because they're all idiots, like Joe said, and they kind of just look at the counting stats. And if you look at those, obviously he's not having a bunch of touchdowns, a bunch of passing yards. But if you watch the games, you see that he's super efficient. He's turning the ball over way less. He's leading these game-winning drives. So he's obviously doing, what fits his game style best, and that's obviously getting out of the pocket, running with the ball, making good throws with, good accuracy. So I think that they're actually – getting the best out of him with what they have. And then with the defense, I mean, we saw with Patrick Graham, they would always kind of just sit back in zone, kind of just let teams pick them apart, drive down the field and then try and stop them in the red zone. But what I love about Wink Martindale is obviously one of the, most blitzes out of any defensive coordinator in the league. And we see that, obviously sometimes they'll get gashed, but it brings a different look to the NFL where, they're not too worried about big plays over the top because they have belief in their guys. And that's what I think has been the biggest, success for this defense so far. And obviously in the second half, they've been fantastic to be able to adjust and keep teams out of the end zone in the second half. So I really do think it's this coaching staff. It's pretty much the same roster we've seen the last couple of years, but I think that this coaching staff has done a great job. And I kind of look at it like the island of misfit toys. Like you have a bunch of random guys, a bunch of like free agents who have come in, who've kind of been on a bunch of different teams, a bunch of late round rookies who have come and stepped up, guys who have been in the Giants roster the past couple of years, but haven't broken out until now, kind of just jammed them all together. And this is what you're getting. And I love to see it. This team has a lot of fight. They're never out of a game. This was the one time I was worried this season that we were out of the game, and the Giants proved me wrong. I mean, they go out, drive right down the field to Daniel Bellinger, get a big stop with that Julian Love interception, and then punch it in. And then obviously Kayvon Thibodeau closing the game out with that strip sack. So this team just has a hell of a fight and resiliency. They don't give up in games. And that's the reason why I think this team could win a lot of games this year, is because they're never out of it. And I believe in, Brian Dable leading us.
This is why the Giants are winning right here. With the exception of Dallas, they've kept everybody to that score or less.
Yeah.
And as long as they can put up, what have I been saying? You need 3 touchdowns and a field goal at least. You got to score at least 3 to 4 times in an NFL game in order to win, and you got to score more than 20. And the Giants have consistently done that, again, while keeping their opponents at that number and under. And that's how you win football games in the NFL. And Sean, you're exactly right. Eli Manning got the same treatment because the counting stats weren't what Peyton Manning was putting up. And who won more Super Bowls?
They won the same, but I guess
There you
they
go.
won the same.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, listen, you can throw for 5,000 yards and 45 touchdowns every year. That's great. Does that make a win worth more than just a regular win? No, it doesn't. It's about winning football games. And this dude has led this team, like Zay pointed out. There's been times where Saquon's been out of the game. And Daniel Jones, again, with a receiving core of nobodies, has been able to produce in the biggest moments. This is another game, Zay, where even when they were losing, I thought, I think we got this. I honestly felt like this was just a matter of time before this team came back.
Yeah. And I will the Giants, like, when I was super critical on Daniel Jones, you said it, Joe, like, over the 20, like I said, 2 to 3 touchdowns. That's all I needed to see, and that's what they've done the past couple weeks to get the win. But before we move on to this week, I was talking with my coworker, and we were going over right after the Giants won, because I had to go into work that Sunday. And I'm like, bro, you look at the rest of the schedule. This Giants team could easily get 12, 13, 14 wins, like, with what they have. I know it's Zay, but it's doable. Look at it. You obviously got the Jags, which we'll talk about. Seattle, they're playing
real
good.
Quick,
but
let me point out one other thing here. Okay? Right? I talked to you guys earlier this season, and we went through those games. Tennessee, Green Bay, Baltimore, Minnesota, and the Colts. Those were 5 games I thought the Giants were going to lose, right? And we've already won 3 of those 5 games. And I had them going 0-5 and finishing at 9-7. So again, there's gonna be weeks where they don't have it together. There's gonna be weeks where they get burned on all the blitzing. It's gonna happen. They'll have a couple bad games the rest of the way. That is a very manageable schedule right there.
Yeah.
And again, it'll be November 24th is a day I'm very much looking forward to. Is the rematch with the Cowboys. Because think about this. If the Giants, and they led that game 13-6 in the third quarter, the Giants had won that game, they would be 6-0. And people would really be flipping out right now and wouldn't know what to do with themselves, because that would be defying the odds. Again, that was a game they were winning in the third quarter. A rare third quarter lead, and they blew that one. So, just saying.
I don't know, Joe. Looking at the schedule, I kind of agree with Jace. Outside of maybe Minnesota, because they might get Odell Beckham, I don't know how many more losses are on there. I mean,
the Eagles,
maybe Dallas, maybe the
Eagles and Minnesota. Those are the only.
But outside of that, I really don't. I can't see Washington beating us twice.
Yeah, Zay, I would say this the rest of the way. I think with the exception of Philly and Dallas, in Minnesota, I don't see the Giants not being the favorite in any of these games going forward. And anybody who decides to make anybody that makes the Giants the underdogs in any of those other games is a fool and is setting themselves up for a loss. This is another win to me right here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about it then. You just mentioned it, Joe. Giants should be favored. The disrespect continues. They're -3 under.
They're -3
because right now.
-3 because
that's home. Yeah. So
yeah,
they think it's even. Vegas thinks this is an even game. It shouldn't be. Is it, Joe?
There's nothing even about this game, and you know I keep my eye on the Jags. They're incredibly inconsistent, and they have serious issues still on their line, and week in and week out, the running back combinations are productive, but not in the big moments. Trevor Lawrence has looked good at times. He's looked terrible at times. Dude, the first round pick, Georgia, what's his face? Totally can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Dude,
Travis
Trayvon
Etienne?
Walker's turning into a
Oh.
monster. He is.
Trayvon
He
Walker.
is,
Yeah.
and is proving himself, I think, to be worthy of a number one. But I think that guy's going to be a superstar in this league in due time. But I don't know. This team's a little messy. Again, a team that last week had shut out the Colts 5 weeks earlier, and then got let up. You tell me. Again, the Giants, week in, week out, have been in every single game. Could be 6-0 at this point.
Mhm.
You can't. I mean, the Jaguars could be 3-3 if things had played out a little differently. That's a bad football team. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know if the Giants have to light somebody up like 40 zip before people really pay attention and believe this team's doing well. Does Daniel Jones need one of those games against the Redskins when he throws for 4 touchdowns? Is that what it's going to take for people to be like, wait a minute, maybe the Giants are good?
Yeah, maybe. But, I mean, the only thing that scares me with this game, I mean, not really, though. The only reason I can see Vegas having it at the Jags -3 because of home, obviously. But, I mean, Doug Peterson being there, maybe this is a different
No,
Daniel
Jace,
Jones.
everybody's expecting the
different-
Giants. Everyone's
understand
expecting
that.
the Giants to lose 10 games in a row and finish 5-12. That's what everyone's expecting is going to happen
So
because
12
they're
games in
not
a row?
paying
Or
attention
11?
and they're not watching the football games, and they didn't watch the games last year, and they didn't watch the games the year before because the Giants sucked. And if you've been watching the games the last 3 years, you see the difference. You understand what's happening. And at a national level, there's a lot of morons out there. People are desperate for Green Bay. Oh, they'll turn it around. Oh, yeah, sure. When Devontae Adams shows back up, maybe Sterling Sharp will come out of retirement.
They could have Sterling Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know, no, I agree with Joe. There's too much of this America loves surfing teams, and they just want them to do good. Well, guess what, people? Two of the teams you hate are doing well. That's the Giants and the Jets, because everyone loves to see them miserable. When the teams were miserable the last few years, everyone loved it, and now they're on top of the world, and they don't even know what to do about it. So I love every moment of this. It's to Joe's point. I could see us losing. Evan Ingram could probably light us up for like 5 touchdowns. You know how he is. He's a very lethal weapon they have over there. I don't understand how the Giants let Evan Ingram go in the offseason. So I could see them losing.
Serious, are you?
Not a chance. I don't see the Giants losing this game, bro. I keep saying
You were warning me for a sec, Zay.
it's laughable, bro. I'm to the point where like I do think the Giants will be a double-digit winning team. Excuse me. Like it's the disrespect is I don't even know where it's coming from anymore. And I watch Philly, and Jalen Hurts gets all the respect in the world, and he goes games he throws no touchdowns. He's thrown only at one game. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns this year. Everything else is handoffs and options and crap. And they're talking about how great he is as a quarterback. And then I watch Daniel Jones with scrubs and guys you've never heard of they're pulling guys off the stands to play receiver, and he's making it happen because they $64 million guy. He's sitting at home, just chilling. So I kind of this is ridiculous. Well, I don't even know why we're talking about this. The Giants will win this game. They'll win it in a blowout. They're going to smoke this team. Like Joe said, the Jags are very inconsistent. Trevor Lawrence, it's not it yet. He needs to find a quarterback, a coach, and a team that can help him. You're just never going to win. Jacksonville's a miserable franchise and will always be a miserable franchise led by the cons. And they run miserable businesses. It's just how it is. So, Giants by 30. I'm being serious.
I got 24-12 Giants.
I like that. I think this. I mean, I talked about it going into the past couple games. You had Aaron Rodgers, you had Lamar Jackson, you had these big name quarterbacks came out. Those were supposed to be close games if you were going to win them. Like the Giants should have won them close, regardless both ways, and they did. This is Joe, like you're talking about. The Giants have been the laughing stock, so have the Jags. Like this shouldn't Vegas, this whole line is freaking me out right now. But yeah, I mean, this is a game. This is what I want to see. Like Zay, what you're saying, this should be a 3-touchdown game. This shouldn't even be close if the Giants are what their record says right now. Sean, did you see this being a blowout?
I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I definitely think that we're going to win. But if you look at the games that we played against some of the worst teams in the NFL this year, they were still close. I mean, we only beat the Panthers by a field goal. We only beat the Bears by a touchdown on extra 2-point conversion. So I just don't think we're the type of team that's going to go out and put up 30, 35 points on you and blow you out. I think we're just a tough-minded team that's going to find a way to win. So I think it will be a little bit closer than you guys have it. I think the Jags actually have some talent on defense. But I just don't think the Giants have enough offense to go out and, hang 35 on someone and blow them completely out. It's just the style or type of style of games that they play where they're not blowing anyone out. So I think it'll be a little bit closer, but the fact that the Jags are favored in this is absolutely wild. I mean, it's just the disrespect for the Giants. I love it. I hope they keep us as underdogs the rest of the season against all these terrible teams. But I just don't think we're the type of team that's going to go out and blow somebody out. I think that we'll probably score around 24, 27 points. Jags will probably be around like 17-ish. We might win by double digits, but I don't think by too much. But obviously, I mean, the Jags -3, that Jacksonville Stadium, that's a tough place to go play, with all 15 of their fans. It's gonna be pretty rough. So, there's no reason they should be favored in this game. And this is our first shot.
No one goes into Jacksonville and beats Trevor Lawrence, right?
That's a good callback.
You've been messing with me all night. I had to say.
That's what we call a callback in the biz.
I love it.
But
you too. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see. And this is our first shot to get revenge on Doug Peterson for being a jackass in that last game. And was it 2019, 2020? So first time we get to see him. He can't run away from the NFCs for too long. So glad we get to get some revenge on him. I think we definitely win this game. I just don't think we're going to be winning by 20, 30 points.
By the way, the whole AFC West is going to the playoffs. Shut your mouth, morons. Again, what a team looks like on paper and how things are playing out, like it's time to recraft your vision for the future here, people. It is what it is, dude. We're like a pretty significant. Where are we at? We're nearly at the halfway point at the NFL season. We're going to week 7.
Yep.
Yeah, week 7. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said last week, it's rare that a mediocre team gets hot, turns it around. Maybe you see one team do that a year. Maybe 2 teams can do it. The entire NFL isn't going to turn it around this year. And that's a major factor here, is the amount of teams that are underperforming. The 49ers, the Rams, the Packers. Pick a team. There's a lot of teams playing like absolute garbage that were supposed to be good. And some of the teams that were garbage are playing better. And I know it's really hard for people to like wrap their minds around what's happening here. Here's the other thing about the power rankings. I mean, if you're being honest with yourself, even last week, what are we basing the power rankings on? What we think they're going to finish the season as, or what they are right now? For them to have 500 teams in front of the Giants last week was so unbelievably ridiculous. Again, it's like, no, I mean, I know the Chiefs are going to start winning again. Like, oh, yeah, maybe they will, but they haven't. So why don't we score this in real time as it's unfolding and give the Giants their proper respects? That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, at least ESPN. I was going to say, at least ESPN threw them in the top 5. The dude that runs the power rankings for NFL Network.
Sean, they had to, because the teams they had in front of the Giants lost.
I know, but there's still people that haven't put it in the top 5. The person that does the power rankings for NFL Network, Dan Hansis, he's just an idiot. He has the Bengals at number 5 right now when they're 3-3. They haven't looked good. They can't close out games. They're obviously not the team they were last year. And he has the Giants at number 7. So That dude, I don't know what it's all just a projection or it's all off of last year.
Yes, they're trying to guess what they think is going to happen. Like that again, that Anthony Munoz is going to show up and cover the blind side. Morons. I mean, I swear to God, like I'm at the point where like ESPN is such trash right now. It's full of trash and it's full of morons. And so you look at Barstool and all these other idiots. Like people have learned, like, oh, I'll just say idiotic, stupid things, and that'll make me successful, as opposed to, again, analyzing things as they're happening, which is what sports is.
That's just too much work for them.
Well, look at ESPN. Kimberly Martin the other day, she said the Giants should tank. They should just quit and just tank the rest of the season and increase their draft pick for next year so they can make the team better in the long run. That's what they should do right now. They're 5-1 and they
should be fired.
Yeah, she's an idiot. She's a beat reporter in the Giants locker room too. She had to stand there after they beat the Ravens. Freaking
yeah. But hey, don't listen to ESPN. Why don't you go check out Clovercrest Media Group for all your sports needs?
Yeah, we deal in facts and reality and not what happened in 2021.
We don't live in fantasy land.
Yeah. Watch out, the Houston Astros. I heard this morning that the Yankees have no chance against the Astros, according to Jessica Mendoza,
I mean,
who doesn't know anything about Major League Baseball.
Jesus.
They should put Jessica Mendoza on tennis or some other sport.
Cut to the commercials. We're not going to talk about the Yankees.
All right.
Cut to the commercials.
Oh, I mean, Joe, you mentioned it earlier, all these teams that people thought were going to perform, underperforming. We're going to talk about one of those teams. But first, let's hear a word from one of our sponsors.
My name is Roseanne BC, and I'm a certified health coach with the company called Optavia. I'm a coach because I love helping people transform their health and their lives. There's a couple different plans. It's safe for a lot of different people and a lot of different ages and places in their lives. I have so many clients that have had such great success, and there's a portion of the program that is you get your health coach, you get the products, but you also get a community of people who are there. So we do Zooms every Monday night nationwide, and if people want to get more involved with other people on the same journey as them, then they can join in and have that kind of support. The website you can reach me at is sacredrosehealthandwellness.com. And you can email me from there, or you can book a virtual coaching session there where we can get your health assessment started and get you moving in the right direction.
All right. Now, after starting 3-3 now, how worried should the Packers be? Obviously losing to the Giants in London. Now the Jets. Like, is this like if you let go of Devontae Adams? Obviously, if you're the Packers, there's got to be some sort of talk here to like blow it up, move on from a guy like Aaron Rodgers, see what you can get, and start a rebuild. Because I mean, you've been struggling. Like in 2019, they only had 3 losses. 2020, last year they have 4. You're already tied with 3 for the past 2 years. So it's ridiculous. They're struggling, obviously, after losing Devontae Adams. Joe, how worried should the Packers be? And is an Aaron Rodgers trade in the future possibly?
Well, listen, on the one hand, the Jets blowing the Packers out only kind of prove what I was saying before about the idea that some of these teams just aren't that good. And the Packers are clearly not that good. You don't lose to the Giants and Jets in back-to-back weeks if you're a good team. You just don't. And no, I'm serious. Again, it speaks that the Giants are better than the Packers. So are the Jets. And so not only are the Packers 3-3, but the former doormats of the NFL are better than you right now. I don't see a scenario where this team wins 10 in a row. I just don't see it. They're not a good football team. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, is a mental case to begin with. He's got this, I mean, right? He's really, he wants Randall Cobb back. Give me a break. Should we call Jordy Nelson? What are you talking about, dude? seriously, Donald Driver's not showing up. Not happening. Not going to happen.
I think Greg
Chmura,
Jennings is available though.
I think Mark Chmura is in prison. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's coming in there to save him. There's nobody magical is showing up that's gonna fix this thing. That's not a good football team. They were good last year and the year before, as Jace pointed out. But this is 2022, and the brand of football they're playing right now has equated to a 500 football team. I don't think they signed Aaron Rodgers to trade him, but I thought the same thing about Odell Beckham and the Giants.
Look at Russell Wilson a couple years.
Sure. Listen, is it possible? Is it maybe time to blow it up?
You already got Jordan Love there.
Yeah, I would say I think that's I don't think it's going to happen until Aaron Rodgers becomes a malcontent. Maybe it happens maybe more in the offseason after, say, they go 6-11 this year. But I don't see this team winning a lot of football games. I just don't. And the idea that he was just going to will them to a win over the Jets, they got their butts handed to them bad. They looked even worse. So, again, if I'm a Green Bay fan, I don't see anything to be optimistic about at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Zay? Your Jets just got that big win. Should they be crying?
That's a great one. Did you work on that one all night? First, this is a very tough question because I kind of don't care. The Giants sucked for years and no one gave a damn, and now Green Bay sucks and I don't give a damn. It's just this is just the way the league is. If you don't rebuild your team like the Giants didn't do after 2011, then your team will eventually suck. Things will start to catch up on you. And you're 39 or 40-year-old or whatever, however old quarter age. How old is Aaron Rodgers now? I don't know. Between him and Brady, I don't know. They're between 40 and 45, something like that. That's what I'm going to call them. But you got to move on. You have to start rebuilding your team. You have to start looking forward into the future. Do like the Cardinals. Get as much young talent as you can possible, even if you don't know what to do with them, but at least you have young talent for the future. They have no receivers. Their offensive line is sloppy. Their defense that was supposed to come in the league and be one of the best defenses has been one of the worst defenses in the league. Now you probably got to rebuild that. It's an honest, it's a joke, bro, that we're sitting here even talking about. The team, like Joe said, they're bad. They're going to continue to be bad. Yes, they should worry. You didn't rebuild your team. You thought Aaron Rodgers was going to carry you for the next 20 years and beyond, and he clearly can't. And now, even if you were to trade Aaron Rodgers, who's your quarterback? Jordan Love? The guy's had 12 snaps, maybe. What are you doing? You haven't planned for the future. And not to mention, Matt LaFleur is a terrible
That's what I'm
coach.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Blow it up and start planning for the future.
LaFleur is just a crybaby. He, to me, he's like Cliff Kingsbury. I don't even understand how they have jobs at this point. It's baffling. It's amazing to watch at times. I can't use certain words because we're obviously on a podcast, but they're really, really bad coaches. So it's not always on Aaron Rodgers, but yes, the Packers should be worried. They need to rebuild. They need a whole new team. They're done.
All right. Sean, could you see the Colts making another Band-Aid decision and going with trading for Aaron Rodgers?
It wouldn't surprise me. The Colts, I'm just convinced they're going to have a new quarterback every year until the day I die. So it's just the way it's looking right now. But I think the Packers fans should definitely be worried. I just don't think they're going to go and make a trade in the middle of the season. One, because I don't know what the market would be for an old quarterback like that, who Joe mentioned. He's kind of a head case. I don't think he'd be a great fit to go into a team trying to make a push for the playoffs just in the middle of the season. And two, we mentioned pretty much, all year that this league, there's just not a lot of high-end teams in the league right now. So if you look at the team like the Packers, obviously I think their ownership and management is looking at it like hey, we've been one of the best teams in the NFL for the past 3 years. Obviously, we're off to a rough start, but we do have talent on defense. We do have Aaron Rodgers and a pretty good run game. So I think it would be too early to go away and trade Aaron Rodgers and blow it up, all right away. I think if this continues and they have a lousy record at the end of the season, then you look into, possibly moving on to Jordan Love. But I think right now it's a little bit too early. I think this team has too much talent. Obviously, the defense hasn't shown up, but they do have a lot of talent on that defense. And I think that they can figure it out. Obviously, they haven't lost a lot of games the last couple of years. And this NFC, other than the Giants and the Vikings, there's just not a lot of good teams. So I don't think I would give up on it just quite yet.
This country has an obsession with old men doing jobs they can't do anymore.
He's 36, Zay. He's not that old.
That was a bigger reference. It went over your head. But anyway.
I got you. I get what you're saying. But I listen, I Packers should obviously be worried. Yeah, Sean, I'm with you. I do think this is something that will, if the struggles continue, probably the offseason. But I think there is one team that would be perfect to make a push for Aaron Rodgers right now, and that's the Falcons. That division's wide open.
What?
They're undefeated against the spread, 3-3. They can win that division, and the only thing they're missing is a quarterback.
A receiver? Who is he throwing it to?
Kyle Pitts, someone who can. Drake London as well. There's guys there. There's talent there, and I think they didn't. They obviously didn't trade for Deshaun Watson. They still have a lot of that capital and value that they were going to go there, and getting rid of Matt Ryan. I think this is a team that's performing a lot better than people thought, and they, with that division, with the Bucs struggling as much as they are, that division's wide open. So why not just have something? Just give an attempt. Even if not, you still have, with that contract, you still have Aaron Rodgers locked up. You still have the young talent in Drake London and Kyle Pitts to build around. There's something there if you could.
He doesn't want to play with young talent. He wants guys who he knows, who's been out there, who he can improvise with on the fly. That's Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have that right now. You're going to putting him with Drake London and Kyle Pitts is no better than putting him up there in Green Bay with receivers he's never thrown the ball to. It's going to give you your same results, bro.
Then why did he come out talking about a trade right after they didn't draft a wide receiver? It wasn't last year. It was the year before that. Why did all those reports start coming out? It's ridiculous. He doesn't have any.
To Atlanta does not fix his situation. He doesn't want to throw to Drake London and Kyle Pitts. He wants Devontae Adams. He obviously
doesn't if they traded him away.
What?
I don't think it's that he doesn't want to play with young talent. I just think that he would need to bring Randall Cobb along.
He didn't. This is what you gotta understand. He wanted to play with Devontae Adams, but he also understood the money aspect of the sport, and that you have to get your money because when they're done with you, they're done with you. And he made a business decision. That's what he felt he had to do best for him when he lives his lonely life on his little ranch after his career because he can't keep a woman. So that's what he did. He made sure he had enough money to stay comfortable until he died. I don't blame him. But
living on his ranch, tripping every day.
Yeah, he's got his ayahuasca.
Tripping off his ayahuascas and dreaming about,
DMT,
race car driving women and shit. But at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers going to Atlanta does not fix the situation. It's just moving him to the same situation in another division. He's stuck with
better
receivers.
Situations, Come
on.
You don't got the Vikings snipping at your heels, and you got weapons.
You need to start focusing on the future if you're Green Bay. Either you're going to keep Aaron Rodgers and trade for a receiver or try to make a push for Odell Beckham, or you get rid of Aaron Rodgers, you send him wherever, you move Jordan Love in to start going towards the future and getting Jordan Love used to his receivers, because that's the only situation they can do. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Then I think that's what they should do.
I mean,
start the rebuild.
Again, it's all about how long you want to wait. They waited. I thought they waited too long with Brett Favre. They kept Brett Favre longer than they had to, and we see how that went.
No, guess so. But all right. Listen, I do think Falcons are. I think that can happen. I think that they can make that happen.
Why? Why would he want to go there? Why?
I told Zay, we're going in circles now. Zay, as much as if we've been going back and forth, I do got to say, you've been killing it with the best bets, perfect 4-0, and Sean, Joe, and we all lost. So, Zay, you can keep your hot hand. Who you got this week?
Blockbuster. Give me the Lions +7 against the Cowboys.
Okay.
Lions
Really?
score a ton of points. Cowboys can't stop any effing body, honestly.
On
They'll
the road?
score enough to win. They'll score enough to win, but the Lions will be right there. And they played the NFC East tough all year. I mean, Lions +7.
Okay. +7 on the road at the Cowboys. All right. I don't know about that one.
That'll look ugly to the fourth. Watch.
I think the Lions are at a point now, like they're done with Dan Campbell's rah stuff. I think they're about to implode. I think, but I don't know. Sean, what's your best bet?
Am I allowed to pick the Giants?
Yeah.
Yeah, hammer it.
You're not. You're not allowed to pick the Giants.
Oh, that's too bad. I mean, I was gonna do it last week. I should have.
Giants.
It was kind of a coward move on me by not doing it. I knew that they would at least cover against the Ravens, but I mean, this one's too easy. There's no way they lose to the Jags.
All right, Joe.
Well, I was.
You want to double down?
I was going to pick the Giants this week. Yeah, +3. I think that's an easy gimme. Can I?
Okay.
Am I allowed to pick the same thing? That was exactly what I had in mind. Well, you can copy and paste.
You see the difference? You see the difference, Jace?
Go ahead and copy my pick, Joe.
When they got another loss added to their record, and I took the more difficult game with another W, you see what it is? Sometimes
I'm with you. Zay, I've been saying go back and rewatch the podcast. Every time you make a pick,
I'm kidding.
You're picking road dogs, bro. I'm like
kidding.
it.
They should win. They should win. I'm hoping they win their picks. I don't want to see the Giants lose, so I hope they win their picks.
Yeah. But I mean, I just talked. Okay, I just talked about them. I've been struggling. They've been perfect 6-0 so far against the spread. They're playing a Bengals team that keeps teams close. Bengals team, they get beat up in the first half, figure it out in the second half. I'm going to go the Falcons on the road. What is it? +6 at the Bengals. I like it. We're all taking road dogs.
I'm taking the Bengals. Jace, you screwed me last week on my parlay. You told me it was going to hit the over. It didn't even come close. I'm taking the Bengals this week.
It was 10 points away. Didn't come close. I mean, it didn't.
That's a lot of points, Jace. That's 2 scores.
I know. Screw Tony Romo. Tony Romo rigged it. Tony Romo spoiled it before it even started. Did you hear that? Did you watch the game? It's like it's going to be 24-20. Screw that guy. But Jared, he's a pretty sharp bettor himself. Jets over Denver and Chiefs over Niners.
I was looking at the Chiefs too.
Yeah.
Jets over Denver, that's almost like a give me at this point with the way Russell's been playing.
Yeah. But it is at Mile High Stadium, the hardest place to play.
It's no Jacksonville.
Have you seen their games all year? That's like the easiest place to play all year.
Well, I mean, hey, Russell Wilson still has to adjust to the altitude, I guess. But
do we got Denver on our record? We need another win.
Broncos country.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Pete Carroll won that breakup. To be honest, I mean, they've been doing overachieving. I also did see something interesting on Twitter. There's an ESPN guy. I know we slander them a lot, talking about how with the Seahawks, the reason Russell Wilson wasn't clicking as much with his wide receivers. It's because they'd like to run crossing routes, and Russell Wilson just wasn't tall enough to see over the O lineman. So that's why Juju Smith is.
Oh, yeah, sure. Here's the other thing that kills me. Week in and week out, dude, they make excuses for everybody, right? I mean, excuses for Lamar, excuses for Aaron Rodgers, excuses for Tom Brady. Every week. It's not Joe Burrow's fault. Oh, Justin Herbert, it's not his fault. I mean, I watched that game. I'm just saying. I think people have to stop trying to judge quarterbacks based on the potential talent, right? Like, I think if you're observing Justin Fields, it's easy to blame everybody else, but I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit thinking Justin Fields isn't that good. I'm going to say it.
I don't know about that.
I think people are really overhyped. I mean, dude, at this point, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen in Chicago in the next year or two? That this guy's suddenly going to turn things around and be a superstar? I don't see it. I don't see it.
I think I add to that, Joe? Wait, can I just want to add to that because I agree with Joe on this, and it's to the fact that and this is where Daniel Jones to me contrasts with him. Daniel Jones played at Duke. He didn't face great talent, but he had played football at a college level where he could go to the next level and be some type of efficient. Over the years, Daniel Jones has had to improve because he was never at what they consider the top of his game or a Heisman candidate. Then when you look at Justin Fields, who goes to Ohio State, who a school that has riches of everything. They have some of the best receivers in the country, the best running backs in the country, some of the best O-lines in the country for years, over and over and over. It's such a good program. You're around such good people that when you get around players who aren't those people that you're used to, we are not the best players you're playing. I'm trying to put it in the best words. Ohio State walks over most of the teams they play during their schedule. And then they face a team like an Alabama who's really, really better than them, and Alabama squashes them. My point is, Justin Fields was really good at Ohio State because what was around him made him look really good because they weren't playing much. Now he's in a situation where he doesn't have stars around him. He's playing teams that are at the top of their level, and he doesn't look good. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, never had. That's why he's, to me, the better option for the Giants. What I was saying. Best way to put it is he had a spoiled rich. He was spoiled of riches in college, and he doesn't have that now. He looked better than he really was in college, and now he's not that. That's what I'm saying. If that's the best way to put it.
Okay, I think the real issue with all sports media right now is regards to NFL, besides us, is every team is judged basically solely on their quarterback. It's not a team thing at all, really. Like, I mean, yeah, Joe Burrow's going to figure it out. Oh, no, let's not really. No one's talking about the defense. No one's talking about how the defense is letting everything up. And then the past couple weeks when they figured it out, yeah, the defense has been great second half, but it's only a half. Like, no one's taught. It's all about quarterback. And that's the reason why I think the Giants are getting knocked a lot, because it's this whole 5-1 experience for the Giants. That's a team effort. It's not Daniel Jones coming out here slinging the football. It's a team.
It never was going to be. Is my favorite part of that.
Yeah, never going to be. But yeah, all right. Woo! I think that's gonna do it for today's show.
Real quick, I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Right? The idea was to build around Saquon Barkley, have Daniel Jones be a mobile quarterback who can manage the game, come up with big plays. This is if we're finally seeing them utilize all of Daniel Jones's skills, and it's translated to a 5-1 record. Plain and simple. The Giants probably wouldn't be where they are if Saquon wasn't having the kind of year he's having. If those two tackles weren't both starting to play like the superstars I think we think they're going to be.
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas is the best left tackle in the league.
And by the way, everybody was down on Dexter Lawrence last year and Leonard Williams 2 years ago. You were all a year late to the party. I was telling you all through last year, I thought Dexter Lawrence was playing a much better job. And again, a lot of the times it was like, it's not showing up in sacks. It's not showing up in tackles. It was just showing up in him being disruptive and getting into the backfield. And he's starting to really deliver and kind of live up to that first round billing. A little late, but better late than never, I always say. This Giants team, boy, I'm telling you, for everyone sleeping on him, you're going to feel pretty stupid at the end of December.
Yeah. And I mean, this is also a young team. I mean, new coach. Like, they're not really at their full potential
on
yet,
the way
really.
up and only going to get better. You're right, Jace.
Yeah, but
yeah. Agreed.
All right. That is going to do it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Big shout out to Annie Mac Home Mortgage for sponsoring today's episode, as well as Rosanny. As always, also Clovercrest Media talked about it. You don't need any of the big media outlets. Go to clovercrestmedia.com. Got keys to the city. Sports Talk with R&J. Basketball Fan posting up. We're starting that back up. Also, stay tuned if you're watching on YouTube or Clovercrest Media, any of the social media pages. Stay tuned directly after this as we go live with posting up to recap and preview the NBA season. But, and yeah, a lot to go on. No Joe, just me, Zay, and Sean.
I will not be joining the basketball show until James Dolan dies.
All right. Okay, you're muted, Zay, and I think that's a good thing because that's going to do it.
That's my boss. Chill out. He comes to my checks, guy.
Listen, whoever takes that team away from him will also be signing your checks. And I hope that guy's great, and I hope he's competent, and I hope he at least has respect for Charles Oakley.
Okay, good point. But all right, for more basketball talk, stay tuned because Posting Up's coming up next. That's going to do it for John about the G-Men. For myself, Big Jace, Joe Guire, King Zay, and Sean Scanlon. See you next week to talk more Giants football. Peace out.
6-1.
Jones dials it up, swing pass, open, bobble, touchdown! Wandale Robinson! 2nd down and 7. Fake it. On the boot. Jones throws. Touchdown! Bellinger! Scoops it back up. Jackson throws. Intercepted! Giants have it with Julian Love. Love weaving through. Great up defense here on 1st and goal. Handoff up top. Touchdown! Saquon Barkley, airborne for the score.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All 4 Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meat, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.